See, to them, you're just a freak. Like me.
Besides, what do you think you have an immune system for? It's for killing germs. But it needs practice. It needs germs to practice on. So listen. If you kill all the germs around you and live a completely sterile life, then when germs do come along, you're not going to be prepared. And never mind ordinary germs, what are you going to do when some super virus comes along that turns your vital organs into liquid shit? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to get sick, you're going to die, and you're going to deserve it because you're fucking weak and you got a fucking weak immune system. Now, all right, goddammit. Hey. All right. Let me tell you a true story about immunization, okay? When I was a little boy in New York City in the 1940s, we swam in the Hudson River, and it was filled with raw sewage, okay? We swam in raw sewage, you know, to cool off. And at that time, the big fear was polio. Thousands of kids died from polio every year. But you know something? In my neighborhood, no one ever got polio. No one, ever. You know why? Because we swam in raw sewage. It strengthened our immune systems. The polio never had a prayer. We were tempered in raw shit. So personally, I never take any special precautions against germs. I don't shy away from people who sneeze and cough. I don't wipe off the telephone. I don't cover the toilet seat. And if I drop food on the floor, I pick it up and eat it. I eat it. Yes, I do.
The other day, 2 years old, 2.5 years old, a child, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic.
Before you click off this video, I want to impress upon you the unfathomable, ungraspable enormity of this term that every politician seems to love to throw around lately, trillion. Do you know how long in time 1 trillion seconds is if you equate it in years? It's 31,709 years. That means if you desired to be a trillionaire, and you could somehow live to a very, very old age, and you earned $1 every second, that's $86,400 every single day. You would have to live to be 31,710 years old. That's how big a trillion is. Now, I want to ask everybody who's still trusting the plan, who still believes Q, who believes there are good guys in government who are going to weed out the bad guys in government, and Trump is railing and fighting against the deep state because he's the good guy. Let me ask you how you can sign. Trump took his pen to the paper and signed his name and signed off on a $6.2 trillion corporate bailout. And that's exactly what it was. You can call it a stimulus. You can try to pacify yourself in your cognitive dissonance all you want.
Now I'm going to sign this, and it's a great honor. $6.2 trillion. I've never signed anything with a T on it. I don't know if I can handle this one, Mitch. We can't chicken out at this point, can we? I don't think so, huh? All right, thank you all. Good, I wanted that to be a nice signature.
It wasn't a stimulus. $300 to $350 billion worth of breadcrumbs went to the American people. But he signed a $6.2 trillion corporate bailout. How can somebody do that and not be a part of the deep state? You have to answer that question. You have to get the cognitive dissonance cobwebs out of your brain, answer that question, and sniff the smelling salts of reality. Because I'll tell you what that means. I'll tell you what it means when somebody signs off on $6.2 trillion and then just days later asks for $2 trillion more for America's infrastructure. And here's Nancy Pelosi asking for trillions of dollars more. Chuck Schumer wants trillions of dollars more. So they talk about this trillion concept like it's just nothing. But when Trump put his pen to the paper and signed off on $6.2 trillion, guys, just let it sink in. He basically signed away the lives of every single American who lives today and every single unborn American who has yet to enter into the world. It's called transgenerational debt slavery. He put us on the hook, on the banker hook, for another $6.2 trillion with one signature. How is that consistent with making America great again? How is that not an action of a deep state operative? Because think about this, $6.2 trillion, that's $6.2 trillion of actual time and labor and energy of the American people. He signed away $6.2 trillion of time, America's time, all Americans' labor, all Americans' energy, and thrust them into a socialist breadline. Just this past Thursday, another 6.6 million people applied for unemployment. That is a socialist breadline. The Thursday before that, 3.8 million people, socialist breadline. And Trump's the very one who said, America is not a socialist country. America will never be a socialist country.
We renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Well, $6.2 trillion worth of corporate bailout says differently. And you can sit there and pacify yourself all you want in your cult of personality cognitive dissonance and call me a libtard. Oh, you must be with Cenk Uygur. Cenk Uygur is out to lunch. All progressives, AOC, all those people right there, all they want to initiate unjust force and violence on you just like Trump does. Nazi Pelosi, Dianne Frankenstein, little Chucky Schumer, Adam Schiff for brains. This is about reality. This is about morality. This is about being a nonconformist. This is about telling the truth. This is about recognizing that truth is treason in the empire of lies. Anybody who's going to sign off on anything in your name and put you on the hook for it, and you are on the hook for it. No, he's giving me $1,200. It's coming. He's gonna bail me out. He's gonna help me. No, he's not. Because another thing that he did with your time and effort and laboring energies is he hyperinflated your currency like that. Now that $1,200 that you get, your prices are going to rise. They're going to double. They're going to triple. Bread prices, egg prices, meat prices, gas prices, everything is going to go up. It can't not go up. When you have boatloads of paper chasing few goods, you can't not have inflation. And inflation at a period where people are in socialist breadlines and they're looking for a government handout to help them get by and put food on the table?
Guys, we're seeing images of Americans waiting in lines at food banks. By the way, Jeff Bezos today gave $100 million to struggling food banks around the country. There is no question that for millions of our fellow citizens, 2 weeks is too long. And people without direct deposit will have to wait as long as, are you ready for this, 5 months to get their checks.
America will never be a socialist country.
And I'm not blaming these people. I'm just saying that's the position your government, your Republican government and your Democrat government put you in. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. They're two wings of the same bird of prey. And that bird of prey has its talons in you, and you're down on the road with your flesh torn open, and they're just tearing us up. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Republican, Demoplican, it does not matter. They are all banker puppets. See, candidate Trump used to be against 5G. Now he's pushing 5G, saying that we're going to win the race to be the world's leading provider of 5G.
I want to thank you all for being here to discuss a critical issue for our country's future. Winning the race to be the world's leading provider of 5G, cellular communications networks. It's all about 5G now. We were 4G and everybody was saying we have to get 4G. And then they said, before that, we have to get 3G. And now we have to get 5G, and 5G is a big deal, and that's going to be there for a while. And
candidate Trump used to be against vaccines, and he knew what was up about vaccines. He knew the dangers and the ramifications.
just the other day, 2 years old, 2.5 years old, a child, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back, and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic.
Now President Trump is pushing vaccines, saying you got to take your shots. You got to get your vaccines.
You tell parents about getting their kids vaccinated.
Measles, I'm the measles.
Measles.
Tell parents about that.
They have to get the shot. The vaccinations are so important. This is really going around now. They have to get their shots.
And now he's pushing the coronavirus vaccine.
I'm also pleased to report today that a vaccine candidate has begun the phase 1 clinical trial. This is one of the fastest vaccine development launches in history. We have a big meeting with the biggest companies, really the most powerful companies, hopefully the smartest companies anywhere in the world when it comes to drugs and vaccines, because we're talking about a vaccine, maybe a cure, it's possible, so we'll see about that, but we're talking about a vaccine. And they're moving along very quickly. All of the pharmaceutical companies are moving along very quickly. Well, thank you very much. Today we're meeting with the pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, the biggest in the world, most prestigious, the ones that get down to the bottom line very quickly, to discuss how the federal government can accelerate the development of vaccines and therapeutic treatments for the coronavirus.
So let me ask you this, people who follow Q and people who are still in Trump's corner saying that he's a good guy in government, he's going to weed out the deep state bad guys in government. Let me just ask you this. How is it not deep state when you push 5G? How is it anti-deep state when you push vaccines? How is it against the deep state when you sign off on a $6.2 trillion corporate bailout and thrust Americans into socialist breadlines? I really want that answer. Please leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. And I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
This is our shared patriotic duty. Challenging times are ahead for the next 30 days, and this is a very vital 30 days. We're sort of putting it all on the line. This 30 days, so important because we have to get back. But the more we dedicate ourselves today, the more quickly we will emerge on the other side of the crisis, and that's the time we're waiting for. The more we commit ourselves now, the sooner we can win the fight and return to our lives.